Hey, if you're new here, my name is Fareed and I'm a recent illustration graduate, and today I'm going to be testing out and giving you all my first impressions of the Derwent Inktense pencils. My preferred mediums for colour are gouache and alcohol markers, but I often use watercolours and colouring pencils separately. So watercolour pencils are slightly out of my realm, but I've seen a lot of hype around these pencils, and so I'm here to experiment, and spoilers, I had an absolute blast using these pencils. Even though they are called Inktense, I do believe they are still watercolours, just a little bit more enhanced for more vibrancy and pigment. Just to let you know, this isn't sponsored, and I purchased these myself, and if you'd like to try them out, the Amazon link is in the description. Okay, so let's start with the colour swatch. The 12 pack comes with sun yellow, tangerine, poppy red, fuchsia, deep indigo, sea blue, teal green, apple green, leaf green, baked earth, bark and ink black. Right off the bat, one of my main issues with this pack of 12 is the colour options. There are just too many greens when I feel like we could have gotten more necessary colours like a white or peach or even a pink. So I'm not thrilled with the colour selection, but I'm sure that's just so that you go out there and spend money on the bigger packs. So now I'm coming in with a brush, just adding a little bit of water, and immediately you'll notice that the pigment comes to life and is way more vibrant once activated. Another thing you can do with these pencils is take your brush directly to the pencil to paint with, and this allows you to get rid of the rough texture of the pencil underneath. And it also makes the pencil very smooth for drawing. A really cool technique that I've seen a lot of artists use is flicking the brush against the wet pencil, giving a nice splatter effect, and it works really well. Another way you can use these pencils is by using paper or anything with a rough surface as a palette, and this basically turns them into normal watercolours, but again, just with more vibrancy. As you can see, the colours blend really well together. With the swatch out of the way, let's get to every artist's litmus test when trying a new medium: an apple still life drawing. Now, I haven't done one of these for a while, and so I was genuinely surprised with the result, considering how quickly I managed to get a hang of how these pencils worked. I started layering the pencils like I would a normal drawing, and as soon as I added the water, it just made the process so quick and easy. It's a really effective way to cover large areas, and you don't have to do a ton of layers like you would with watercolour. I did slightly cheat by using a white gel pen for highlights, but I use white gel with almost all of my mediums. Now, moving on to the real test for me, which is, can it be used for illustration? So for this piece I'm using Archer's watercolour block cold pressed, which means the paper has a very grainy texture, unlike the sketchbook earlier. And in future, I think I would prefer something with slightly less texture. However, this block is just so convenient for anything watercolour as the paper doesn't warp. I start off using the bark pencil for the underlying sketch, and maybe that was a mistake because obviously that will react to water on top, but it worked out okay for this piece since it's mostly dark. The character is Lobo, as I was inspired by the recent perfect casting of Jason Momoa in the role. One thing I noticed is the more water you use, the lighter the colours will dry, and so you can see me going over the background a few times. This piece really started to come together once I started layering the pencils over the top of areas that I had already worked on. I think this piece turned out really well for my first time using these pencils, so personally I'm really happy with them. The colours are super poppy and vibrant, and it's a great contrast to the watercolours that I've used in the past. So, can you use it for illustration? You absolutely can. But should you buy them? The price is more on the premium side, so definitely not the best for beginners to start, unless of course you can find them discounted, but I'll definitely recommend this to artists who have at least some experience with watercolour and or colouring pencils. You'll see me coming in with a cloth or a rag to dampen up the paper, and that just takes off any excess water and lightens up the colour underneath. I never timed myself, but if I had to guess, I'd say this piece took me a couple hours, and it definitely went by fast. It was a lot of fun trying out this medium, and I'm excited to incorporate it with my mixed media pieces in the future. I tried using all the colours in the pack, and the only one that was left out was one of the darker greens. So all in all, I'd give this a rating of 8 out of 10. Just wish the colour selection was better, and if the price was cheaper, that would be great. You can see me using the splatter effect for the stubble, and even after sharpening the pencils to a point, it is hard to get smaller details. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you want to see next. Look out for my comic Star Chamber. Please leave a like, comment, share, bell and subscribe for more art related content.